She picked a side, the wrong one. Hello, my fam. It is Perez, the queen of all media, the original influencer, and still your number one source for everything. It ends with us, Saga. It ends with us author Colleen Hoover infamously chose Beefy Blake over Justin Baldoni, and now she's finally speaking out about all the drama. Blake's bestie has a new book coming out in January inspired by the Saga, and Colleen has begun doing promo for that. But before I tell you what she said, a little reminder. Last week, Justin Baldoni gave us a mountain of receipts, proof, timeline, screenshots, including copious communications with Colleen Hoover. Communications where she lied or misremembered facts. She complained to Justin about not being involved in the script when she was. And she previously publicly talked about that. She also had more grievances with Baldoni, such as Wayfair not agreeing to donate money on her behalf to charity. She's a diva. She's a diva, and she's a diva. Birds of a feather, flock, flock, flock. Well, in this new interview with Elle, Colleen says of this saga, quote, "It feels like a circus." I love it. When there are real people involved, says Hoover, with real feelings and emotions. Okay. She feels the controversy has even impacted some of the actors' careers in huge ways. You don't say. Hoover was also one of the executive producers of the movie It Ends With Us. And she's got another big screen adaptation of one of her projects coming out in March, Reminders of Him. I'll make sure not to watch that. However, Hoover says that she had barely any control or involvement in It Ends With Us, the movie. And she thought maybe she'd like to have a bit more control in the future. How is she doing that? Well, she launched her own production company called Heartbones Entertainment, where she will be developing her own books into movies and has also acquired the rights to a handful of books by other authors. Cool. Of the book and the movie, subsequently, she says that It Ends With Us is rooted in her own experience, so she finds it easy to stand by when people criticize it for having an oversimplified portrayal of DV. Quote, "I respect that people have passionate opinions about it, but I would not change a thing because that was my mother's experience. However," she adds, "I learned a lot from the criticism, but it doesn't change the fact that this was one woman's story. I'm not trying to say all abusers are this way or all victims are this way. And I think I made that clear in my author's note that I was simply just putting myself in my mother's shoes and wanted to understand her more. And when she read it, God, it was such a healing moment for us. But," she adds, "she would not write the book today. Quote, I would just be too worried about the scrutiny." But It Ends With Us is very near and dear to her heart. She says, "It was my most popular book, but it's also the story that meant the most to me. And I knew it meant the most to readers. So that's naturally the one I wanted to hopefully give them on screen." And we know how that turned out. And actually, she was working on her own It Ends With Us movie when Justin Baldoni reached out. And she ended up going with Wayfarer instead. And of all the drama on the set and after, because remember the whole editing fiasco, the marketing, the drama was nonstop on set and off the set. The penthouse meeting, drama, drama, drama. Hoover says now, in this new interview with Elle, that she was completely unaware that anything was happening. Really? Your bestie didn't tell you anything? I don't know if I believe that. In addition to calling it unfortunate and disappointing and a circus, Hoover says, I just find it all around sad. And she doesn't really want to add fuel to the fire, saying, I'm just trying to stay removed from the negativity. I have my own story I could tell. But I don't want to bring attention to it. And I don't want to have to put someone else down to lift myself up. She's talking about Justin Baldoni, right? Tell your truth. Sharing the truth is not putting anybody down, right? Talking in this cryptic way, I think, is more harmful than the truth. Or she doesn't want to share the truth because the truth makes her look bad. I said it. Yep, had to be said. So she says, I'd rather just ignore it and let people think and say what they're going to say. I feel like it's so big at this point that there's nothing anyone can say to change whatever opinion people have of it, even though no one has the actual truth, not even me. Disagree. I've seen enough video, texts, emails to decide for myself what I think really happened. And thankfully, Colleen, I've changed my mind. I, for the longest time, believed that Baldoni and his nemesis were going to reach a settlement out of court. Not anymore. After his motion for summary judgment last week, when Justin dropped that avalanche, mountain, plethora of evidence, he's in it to win it. He's going all the way. And depending on the jury, if it's comprised of sophisticated jurors or not, I think he might lose the retaliation claim. They'll find him guilty of retaliation, but he will win and be found not guilty of SH. It has to be clear and pervasive, and action must not have been taken. And they did take action, and it was not clear and pervasive, and it was not meeting the bar for the legal definition of SH. It wasn't what happened. I looked it up. I did my own research, which I told you all about. I knew this even before summary judgment last week. But I didn't know the new video. I didn't know all of the new communications. I didn't know everything. And now that I know even more, no settlement. And he might even win with the retaliation claim. It is not against the law to defend yourself, especially when someone is making up things about you and misrepresenting what really happened. And the whole It Ends With Us saga has made her sad, not just for herself, but also for her mother, Colleen Hoover says. Quote, the book was inspired by her story, and now it gives us PTSD to think about it. I feel awful because I almost feel like she's gone through more with the aftermath of this film. More pain than she went through with my dad. Just seeing the ugliness of it. Did she just say that this saga was worse than DV? She continues saying, I can't even recommend it anymore. The book. I feel like the lawsuit has overshadowed it. I'm almost embarrassed to say I wrote it. When people ask what I do, I'm just like, I'm a writer. Please don't ask me what I wrote. She hopes one day, after the trial concludes, she might feel differently. Quote, the more time that passes, the easier everything gets for all of us. But it is sad because I was very proud of that book. And I'm still proud of it, but less publicly so. Maybe I need therapy. I don't know. Wow. I am shocked and disgusted. Is it just me? How do you feel about her words? Let's discuss it all in the comments section. And if you watched until the end, you are a superstar. Say hope. Say hope in the comments section. And I also hope you guys get a cameo from me. I love making personalized videos for you all. Book one right now on the Cameo website at cameo.com/myname. Check out my official merch store. So many fabulous products at buypopstuff.com. That's buypopstuff.com. Read my website every day throughout the day to stay informed and entertained. It is free. And if you like my podcast, you will love our Patreon. We are very involved in the message board, and you'll get an exclusive podcast a week. So we need more hope. Thoughts on what Colleen said? Let's discuss and say hope in the comments. See you there.